All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this. And like I said, it just got even worse for Letitia James. I got a lot of breaking news regarding that situation. So make sure y'all stick around for that, because the way that this woman, pretty much campaigned on going after President Trump, I'm going to bankrupt him, I'm going to put him in jail, I'm going to take all of his money. This woman ran on saying, I'm going to get President Trump. And now you got these liberals, you got CNN and all them trying to make excuses for this woman by trying to say, oh, it's political retribution. She even put a video out crying, talking about, oh, Donald Trump just want retribution. You're like, you do something to him, but he can't do something back. He's going after you for the crap that you did, because it was unconstitutional of what the crap that you did to this man. Getting a half a million dollars from him, all type of stuff, using a corrupt judge to go after this man. And now you got these liberals trying to make excuse for this woman. And not only that, we even got even more news regarding Benny Johnson. Salute to Benny Johnson, man. I'm a big supporter of Benny Johnson. But he did, him and Pam Bundy did talk today, because apparently it seemed like somebody made death threats towards him and his family. And I think they do got that person in custody. So we definitely going to dive straight into that. And we got even more news regarding this government shutdown, how these Democrats still trying to blame the Trump administration for the government shutdown, when Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, all them, is the one that shut it down. The dollar store Barack Obama, Hakeem Jeffries. That's what he is, a dollar store Barack Obama. So like I said, we're going to dive straight into this. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you, man. Like, especially my last videos, y'all been watching really the whole video, and I appreciate it. So let me know in the comment section that you did stay to the end of this video. I would really appreciate it. And you did hit that like button, all right? And I'm gonna try my best to keep y'all up to date with all the news that's coming out. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel with your notifications turned on. Make sure your notifications say all. That way you don't miss no uploads. So let's go ahead and start over here about Benny Johnson. So by Eric Dollar, he say, just then, Benny Johnson says the leftist man who wanted to take him out explicitly said why, and now Democrats are nominating a candidate in Virginia who wants to do the same thing. We covered it the other day. So let's go ahead and dive straight into this, and let's see what Benny Johnson said.
The individual who wrote me described why he wanted me dead. I was a white, cis, Christian Trump supporter. They described in great detail how I would be killed in an open field, just like Charlie, how much blood would come out of my head and neck when it was blown off. This individual described orphaning my 4 beautiful children and widowing my wife with great joy. You might want to say another left-wing radical, another extremist. And to that, I would like to direct your attention to the state of Virginia, where Democrats have nominated and are about to vote for the chief law enforcement officer in that state, a man who has done the exact same thing, an individual who's calling for the assassination by bullets of Republicans that he disagrees with. The killing of their children, the slaughtering of, as he says, little fascists. Are my 4 innocent, beautiful children little fascists? Violence has been mainstreamed by the Democrat Party. It is not extremist, it is mainstream.
Man, that is...
And we need a moment of reckoning here. This has to stop. This cycle must end. Is any Democrat courageous enough to disavow violence?
Wow. And we went over that the other day. Like I said, prayers go out to Benny Johnson. Prayers go out to his family and stuff like that. Like I said, I support Benny a lot. I've been watching Benny for a long time, man. He's a great person. His channel is great. He keeps us up to date with everything that's going on. And he's right. Stuff like this just has to stop. So here's Pam Bundy pretty much speaking on what Benny Johnson just said. So it's a breaking. AG Pam Bondi announces federal charges against a leftist man who threatened to take out Benny Johnson. So let's check out what Pam Bondi said.
Beautiful, beautiful young family. The author of this letter made it very clear that he hated Benny because of his views, and he wanted Benny dead. This was a coward hiding behind a keyboard who thought he could get away with this. That's why we're standing up here today. You are not going to get away with threatening people in this way. And I'm proud to announce that we have arrested the author of this letter. George Isbell Jr. was taken into custody this morning, and we are charging him federally with mailing threatening communications. It is a crime, and if convicted, he is going to prison. This was incredible teamwork. Benny, beautiful, beautiful.
Wow. So the good thing is they got that guy in custody, because a lot of people think just because they behind a keyboard that they can't get caught. And so thank God that person got caught. When you go to talking about, oh, what's going to happen to Benny, it's the same thing that happened to Charles. Like, you got to get people like that off the streets. You got to get people like that off the streets, and they right. Stuff like this has to freaking stop. So like I said, once again, prayers go out to Benny Johnson. Prayers go out to his family and stuff like that. And let's move on right here. Because this right here is where, you know, Democrats still crying. Hakeem Jeffrey is still running out on his campaign tour, still trying to blame Republicans, you know, for the shutdown. So look at it. He said, while Hakeem Jeffrey is now losing it upon being challenged for withholding pay from the American troops by his own party keeping the government shut down. But then he'll turn around and say that we trying to help the American people, but now you making the American people suffer by, you know, shutting down the government, all because you couldn't get $1.5 trillion in free health care for illegal aliens. So, I mean, this is insane, but check it out.
We're already seeing paychecks missed, soldiers lining up at food kitchens. Are you concerned that this fight for health care that Democrats are waging here might end up hurting Americans the longer the shutdown drags out?
Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They decided to shut the government down.
Oh, my God.
Republicans in the House have decided to remain on vacation. Republicans canceled votes last week, they canceled votes this week, and now they've canceled votes next week. They're not serious about reopening the government.
No, they are serious. They just ain't stupid. They ain't stupid. See, this is what he's doing. He constantly running with that Republicans shut it down, but yet him and Chuck Schumer, the Democrats, shut it down because they can't get what they want. And this is what he's going to do. He's trying to brainwash the American people by saying that Donald Trump and the Republicans shut down the government when we know that ain't true.
Republicans aren't even serious about paying our active duty troops.
But they have voted for temporary government funding legislation.
Republicans have voted for a partisan spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
Oh, my God. So obviously we ain't getting nowhere with that, because this dollar store Barack Obama is just going to keep on running with what he's running with. Just running around, and every time he get challenged, the first thing he say is, it's Republicans' fault. Donald Trump them shut it down. That's exactly what he's going to keep saying. Like I said before, I'm going to say it again. He ain't nothing but a dollar store, half off Barack Obama. So, look right here by Eric Dawson. Breaking, thousands of federal employees are going to be laid off now by OMB Director Russ Vought as a result of Chuck Schumer's government shutdown. Keep going, slash as much as possible. This is what the Democrats wanted. So they, like I said before, they doing this so they can just blame it on Republicans.
As I take a step aside here, there is quite a bit of military members and their families in line because of this government shutdown. We're in day 9 of it, and they're here for a food pantry. There's all sorts of food that is available, and I spoke with some military member spouses, and I spoke with some department heads here at the ASYMCA on why this is so important. What's the difference in the amount of people that you've seen from today to previously?
So when we first started coming, there definitely wasn't this amount of people. It was a lot, but it wasn't this amount to where it wrapped around the building. But lately it has been a lot. Like we were here last week and we were in line for like 2 hours.
In a normal week, we usually run out of food about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Last week we ran out of food about 10:30.
Well, this is all caused by the Democrats. They asked us to do something that's totally unreasonable. They never change. They want to give money away to illegally, people that entered our country illegally. They want to give them massive federal money. And we don't want to do that because it means everyone's going to just keep pouring back. Right now we have absolutely perfect borders like you haven't seen in many years. Even better than I had great borders during my 4 years. But these borders are stone cold closed. You can only come into our country legally now. But the Democrats want to give it all away. They want to open up the borders. Take a look at that. It's a big thing. They want to open borders again. After what we're going through now, getting rid of prisoners, getting rid of all of these people dropped out from mental institutions, drug dealers, drug addicts, everything. They're putting everybody into our country. It's all ended now. But this is what Schumer wants. This is what the Democrats want. They want to have, and they want to take our money. We're doing well because of tariffs. We're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever.
Track down exactly which agencies here on this Friday afternoon are now sending these notices of reduction in force, effectively layoffs, firings to their employees. And I just heard from a spokesperson over at the Health and Human Services Department that they are among those agencies, those departments that are going to be moving forward with agency rifts. I am told that here from the agency that it's going to be across multiple divisions and that under the Biden administration, the department had become bloated. This is the spokesperson. HHS continues to close wasteful and duplicative entities, including those that are at odds with Trump administration's Make America Healthy Again agenda here. And so just how vast are these intended layoffs? It's not clear. We are 10 days into this government shutdown. We should also be clear at the same time that not only has the AFL-CIO filed a lawsuit, but also the American Federation of Government Employees. And there is actually a hearing that is pending to take place in Northern California this upcoming Thursday. Those lawsuits were filed ahead of this actual action being taken place. It was when OMB Director Russ Vought had threatened, along with the president, to move forward with these firings that we have not seen in previous government shutdowns. This also comes after the IRS had informed employees who had been furloughed that they would, in fact, be receiving back pay.
Wow. All on Hakeem Jefferson, Chuck Schumer. All on them. And then, it just caused Speaker Johnson to come back out again and talk about this situation because not only that they blaming President Trump and Republican, but they still bringing up Speaker Mike Johnson's name. Oh, it's Speaker Mike Johnson. He's the cause of this. So they still calling him a liar when he actually showed proof that they want to fund these illegal aliens. So we're here by Gunther. He said, breaking, Speaker Johnson says that the Schumer shutdown is hurting real Americans for his own political survival. Schumer is hurting millions by having his party keep the shutdown going, all because he's afraid of AOC. Karma is coming, and it's called midterms. And it's definitely going to hurt them in the midterms doing this.
Glaring fact that everybody in America can see. Chuck Schumer is hurting real Americans for his own political survival. I'm going to say that again. Chuck Schumer is hurting real Americans for his own political survival. If you're a service member who's not getting a paycheck, it's because Chuck Schumer has to appease the Marxist. Cut and simple. It's plain and simple. Shame on you, Chuck. Every Senate Democrat who's going along with this, you lack the moral fortitude to do the right thing. This is the first time in history, the first time in the history of the United States Congress, that a party has shut down the government over a clean CR. We frankly didn't expect this. We sent over a no-frills 24-page document to keep the lights on, keep Congress working, to keep the paychecks flowing. And they stopped it because they're afraid of the far left. I'm just going to walk through a quick sample of the devastating impacts that Americans are feeling as we speak right here, because this is real. And you'll note a theme here. A lot of these are blue states where their Senate Democrats are over here keeping the government closed. In California, home of the nation's largest civilian workforce, more than 250,000 federal workers are now working without pay. Both the Democrat senators, Padilla and Schiff, have now voted 7 times to block those paychecks. In Virginia, there are 189,000 federal employees nearly 5% of the state's workforce that are waiting on their next full paycheck. And both of their senators, Warner and Kaine, refused to pass a clean bipartisan CR that Democrats supported 13 times under Joe Biden in the previous 4 years.
Wow. And like I said, they don't care that they hurting American people. They really don't care that they hurting American people. Democrats just don't care at all. And the thing is, they think that President Trump is going to cave to them. And he says he's not going to cave. He's not going to cave. Because you can't sit here and try to blame what y'all doing on him because y'all didn't get what y'all want. So it's like, come on, man. Not only that, so Mike Johnson even went on Fox News and kind of explained this even more. So it says Speaker Johnson is furious after learning that Schumer plans to keep the government closed until after an Antifa-involved No Kings rally in D.C. on October 18th.
A very patient guy, but I have had it with these people. They're playing games with real people's lives. The theory we have right now, they have a Hate America rally that's scheduled for October 18th on the National Mall. It's all the pro-Hamas wing and the Antifa people. They're all coming out. Some of the House Democrats are selling T-shirts for the event,
wow.
And it's being told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally because they can't face their rabid base. I mean, this is serious business hurting real people. And I'm beyond words. I can't believe they're actually doing this.
Yeah,
That's
Mr. Speaker, you're talking
insane.
about that No Kings rally. Real quickly before we...
So they got a No Kings rally on October 18th, and they don't want to open the government up until afterwards. This is their whole game plan. And then not only that, Speaker Johnson pretty much goes off on Chuck Schumer for saying that every day gets better for us during the federal shutdown. So he's saying every day get better for Democrats that the government is shut down. And then in the same breath, they'll say that they care about the American people. Oh, man.
Infuriating to us. Everything that Hakeem Jeffries said there is the opposite of the truth. It was 3 weeks ago today, Brian, that the House voted to pay the troops, pay federal workers, and keep the government open. We passed a clean CR 3 weeks ago. The ball is in the Senate's court. That's where the duty must be done now. But Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are playing politics with the lives of real American people. He's getting accolades right now from the far left. That was the whole objective. They had to appease the Marxist base of the Democrat Party, and so they picked this fight right now. It is absurd. As you know, the measure that we sent over there 3 weeks ago is a clean CR. It is 24 pages in length, the bare minimum necessary to keep the lights on so Congress can continue to do its work. They shut it down. It's on them. For counting yesterday, the Democrats have now voted 8 times in both chambers to stop the payment of checks to troops, federal workers. We have 2 million civilian employees that will not be getting paid now, and 1.3 active duty military service members. It is infuriating to us.
That's messed up, man.
Go ahead, Ainsley.
That's messed up.
So how do you react when you hear Chuck Schumer saying, every day gets better for us? What about the people who aren't getting paid? What about the women who are here while their husbands are deployed? What about people who are trying to go on vacation or go away for the holiday weekend and their flights are delayed or canceled? How is that better for everybody?
Real harm to real people, and we're hearing it from our constituents. The House Republicans right now are in their districts working, trying to help people through this crisis.
Wow. Every day gets better for Democrats as the government shut down. This is exactly what they said. So I wanted to bring y'all that. Now, let's turn the tables a little bit to the woman that said, I'm going to get Donald Trump. I'm going to lock him up. I'm going to take all of his money. I'm going to subpoena his sons. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. She went and got a corrupt Judge in Goron. When they got a corrupt judge and they all was against President Trump. She even won a lot of a lawsuit out of President Trump where it was like $500,000. And she went to brag. And like I said, we still got the clips of her bragging about how she's going to get President Trump. So look at this. So President Trump had posted this on the 4th. He said, President Trump just ended Letitia James' career for costing New York hundreds of billions of dollars in lost business. She should be in prison for interfering with the 2024 election. Lock her up. And you can see right by President Trump. Let's see exactly what he said word for word. He said, corrupt Letitia James is costing New York State hundreds of billions of dollars in lost businesses. No company or individual wants to be there knowing that she's the attorney general. She is a complete and total disaster who tried running against Kathy Hochul for governor and only got 1% of the vote imposed and quit. She then went back to her witch hunt against President Donald J. Trump and others. Until this scum is removed from the Attorney General's office, no company will move to New York, and few companies will be using the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ for going public. The new Texas Exchange will be taking all of this business away, and we're taking hundreds of billions of dollars, and that is what the president said. So, and I want to show y'all what, the news that Jesse Water broke about Letitia James indicted for fraud. Let's check this out.
Fox News alert, Letitia James has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Senior correspondent Kevin Cork has the details. Kevin.
Evening, Jesse. Just reading the headline will be for many sweet vindication, proving that, sometimes legal turnabout is in fact fair play. A federal grand jury in Virginia indicting the New York Attorney General Letitia James on 2 counts related to alleged mortgage bank fraud. James, or Big Tish as she's been monikered by some of her critics, was being probed for alleged paperwork discrepancies on her Brooklyn townhouse and her Virginia home. She allegedly declared both to be primary residences on mortgage applications, which you just can't do. Though I should add this, she has publicly denied any wrongdoing. And she responded to the charges today with a video saying this about the president.
He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding. All because.
Oh, he's forcing somebody to do his bidding. So did you not use Joe Biden to do your bidding? When Joe Biden and his DOJ went after President Trump, had this man in cold courtrooms, he put, they pretty much sent Letitia James for him. They put Fannie Willis on him, Jack Smith, like Alvin Bragg. Look at all the people that went after President Trump. And then y'all turn around and trying to play, oh, he just want political revenge. Oh, he just want revenge. What? So now y'all want to try to cry about it, but yet it was okay when y'all was doing it. Let's go.
I did my job as the New York State Attorney General.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You did your
job.
We're
told that the grand jury was presented with evidence by the new U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan herself. That's a rare move. It's usually handled by lower-level prosecutors. Halligan, you may recall, is President Trump's former private attorney. In a statement we received today, Halligan said the charges, as alleged in this case, represent intentional criminal acts and tremendous breaches of the public's trust. Halligan's predecessor, Eric Siebert, resigned last month under pressure from the administration. Sources tell us he was off-ramped for refusing to move forward with obvious charges. For her part, James has a first scheduled appearance in court on October the 24th. We'll be watching.
Oh, yeah, we're going to watch for that.
No one is above the law, even Big Tish.
That's right.
Yeah, nobody's above the law. That's what she like to say. So here's the thing what CNN does. So, they try to cover up for her. They literally try to say that it's no big deal because it was a small amount of money. So now y'all want to make, this up that, oh, Letitia James should be free because what she took was just a small amount of money. You can go into Walmart and steal a bag of chips and you're going to jail. It don't matter if it's a piece of bubble gum. It don't matter if it's a bag of chips. It don't matter if it's a Snicker bar. It don't matter if it's a Hershey bar. It don't matter what it is. If you're a thief, you a thief, no matter how much money it was. It don't matter if it was, like I said, a bag of chips. It don't matter. Stealing is stealing. So now they want to make excuses for her? So check this out. Say new. CNN suggests Letitia James' alleged fraud is no big deal because it was a small amount of money. One day after they suggested everyone in America commits mortgage fraud. CNN today said, what's the difference about this case is it involves a small amount of money. This is ridiculous, man. So if there was President Trump, would they be saying, oh, it don't matter? Shouldn't nothing happen to the president because it was a small amount of money? No, they wouldn't say that because they hate him. They want him to go down. But since it's one of them, they want to make excuses.
So the indictment accuses James of falsely claiming in loan documents that she would use a home she purchased in Virginia as a second residence that allowed her then to get a better interest rate. Instead, they say she used this home as a rental property. Put this into context for us. How often would DOJ prosecute a case like this?
So bank fraud, or what we consider mortgage fraud type cases, are very common. They're, something that most U.S. attorneys' offices around the country do on a routine basis. What's different about this case is it is involving a very small amount of money, right? We're talking, almost $19,000. This is not the kind of case that most U.S. attorneys' offices are bringing.
It don't matter. $19,000 is still a good bit of money to some people. If you steal, you steal. You can rob a bank. Look at this. See, this is the thing about how slow these people is. If you go to a bank right now and rob them, you have them at gunpoint or whatever the case may be, and you say, give me $19,000, and you get caught, you still can go to prison for that. It don't matter about how much money it is. You can go into a bank and you can steal $5 from behind the counter. It's still robbery. Whatever you take is still robbery, no matter how much more or less money it was. So, this is what they do, trying to make excuses. Stealing is stealing, no matter how much more or less that she got.
Usually they're looking for, mortgage schemes or things that involve a much higher monetary threshold. What jumps out at me is not the fact that it's a mortgage fraud case, but the amount.
Aside for a second, what Tish James, and again, we're still getting the details, but if it's related to this mortgage issue, I mean, this is something that everyone in America, or many people at least, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in America, you deal with this, right? The federal government doesn't go after all of these people for doing this.
Boy, it's so crazy. Well, they trying to make excuses for this woman. Trying to make excuses for her. So check out this clip right here.
Representing our respective states, stand up and enforce the rule of law. The President of these United States is not above the law.
Wow. No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are, everyone must play by the same rules.
Please sue him for us.
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the
Wow.
And now the Trump Justice Department may be a pain in her you-know-what. The angle has obtained shocking allegations leveled by the Trump administration against New York Attorney General Letitia James. The Federal Housing Finance Agency has sent a criminal referral to the DOJ accusing James of mortgage fraud. In a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Director Bill Pulte says James appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms. He cited a property in Virginia that she's allegedly claimed as her principal residence and a property in New York that she claimed as a 4-unit structure instead of the required, instead of a 5, which Pulte says means she was able to get a different type.
Wow. And you can see, they were breaking news over here. Said New York AG Letitia James was just indicted by a grand jury for federal bank fraud. And of course, like I said, you are always going to have CNN that's trying to cover for her. And look at this. This is where she uses a post about President Trump when she was going after President Trump. You can see got Tish James. She said, roses are red, violets are blue. No one is above the law, even when you think the rules don't apply to you. Seems like they come back in full circle now, don't it? Say breaking a federal grand jury is meeting in the Eastern District of Virginia court weighing charges New York AG Letitia James with mortgage fraud. 2 sources confirmed to Fox News. So at this point, everybody is talking about it. Look at this. Tish James, no one is above the law. This is what she used to post all the time, which means she ain't above the law. Now, I like what Scott Jennings said right here. Because, of course, CNN, Abby Phillips, all of them trying to cope for and all of that stuff. And check out what Scott Jennings said.
I looked at the documents that her attorneys sent to DOJ before all of this, and they have an email between her and her banker, the banker that originated this loan, saying, this will not be my primary residence. And that's probably one of the main reasons that prosecutors would have looked at this and said, it's going to be hard to prove that she intentionally deceived the lender when there is an email exchange in which the lender confirms that this is not going to be her primary residence. But at the end of the day, Scott, it seems like none of that really matters because Trump said in his text or his social media message to Pam Bondi, which the Wall Street Journal says was meant to be a direct message to Pam Bondi, that and there's been all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam, Shifty Schiff, and Letitia? He just told her to prosecute these people, and they're doing it.
Yeah, well, they went to a grand jury. They showed them evidence. A grand jury decided to bring charges, just like in the case of Comey. And in both cases, they'll get to go to court and have their day in court. And we'll see if the evidence ever makes it to a jury of their peers. Look, I mean, Letitia James is the absolute worst possible poster child for the argument of selective prosecution. Her entire political career has been on the idea of selectively prosecuting one person, Donald J. Trump. Whether you think the merits of the case are strong or weak, or how you think it's going to play out, going out tonight and crying and whining and fussing about selective prosecution when it comes to Letitia James, who ran an entire campaign saying she was going to go after Trump. The cases she brought, it was only because of Trump. I don't think the American people are going to have too much sympathy for it. But she'll get to go to court. She'll get to make her arguments, and we'll see what happens.
And you see what Scott Jennings said? You can see this woman right over here. She just nodding her head because she don't like what she's hearing. She only want to hear somebody bash President Trump. And she know for a fact that Letitia James ran on going after President Trump. And they see how many times that this woman was hollering and screaming outside the courthouse, talking about we're going to sue him, telling people on the streets we're going to take his money. And they acting like they didn't see that, all because of their hate for President Trump. And it's just sad. So even check out what Newsmax said about this.
The media's coverage of this story has already proven to be very predictable. Every single report that we've been able to find immediately tells the reader, even in the headline, that this is political retribution. That the only reason this is happening is because she went after Trump. Remember that the media never force-fed its audience that narrative, anything like that, when Trump himself was hit with 91 felony charges as he ran for president after an entire lifetime of having no legal trouble at all. You never saw a Donald Trump, #1 enemy of the deep state, hit with multiple felony charges as he runs for president.
They didn't do it for him.
A headline in Reuters or anywhere else.
They didn't do it for him.
And Carrie Lake joins us now to talk about this. What a moment to see that federal charge against one of the worst out there.
I think like a lot of Americans, I was starting to think, well, maybe it won't happen, even though I'd heard the news about, all of the problems with her mortgage documents. I mean, that's real basic stuff. She's a top law enforcement officer. She should be thrilled that this administration is following the law, the letter of the law to a T.
Yeah.
And the good news is I actually think that Tish is going to look really good in orange.
I think so too.
I think it might be her color.
Hey, nobody's above the law, Carrie, as we learned so many times from Tish James. They're calling this retribution, and sure, why not? Let's call it retribution. But there has to be this for what they did, and that's the point. You remember how much time?
Exactly. So, like I said, President Trump is doing the right thing, because if he don't do something about it, let's say they get in charge, they get put in charge again. We know what they're going to do. They're going to do the same thing. Go after President Trump. Go after everybody that's around him. You already had Hakeem Jeffries pretty much admitting that's what they're going to do. They're going to go after President Trump. If they ever gain power again, they're going to go after Donald Trump. This is what they said.
Time Trump spent sitting in court, how hard they tried to humiliate him. And again, he goes 78 years. He never has any legal trouble. And all of a sudden he has 91 felonies at 79 years old. And you're telling me that's not political? This is necessary. The people that did this needs to happen to them. Otherwise, they'll just do it again. If a lesson isn't learned here, then these people will just get worse and they'll do it again.
Yeah, they'll do it again.
I don't think it's retribution at all. I think it is law and order. It's justice. There was a wrongdoing here. It sounds like it's a solid case. We're going to get more information as the days unfold. And I think it's going to be an open and shut case, a real easy one. It's all there in the documents, and nobody forced anybody to sign a document. And so when you fill out these documents, it's really hard to prove otherwise that you're innocent when, in fact, the evidence is right there in front of you. And we think of what happened to President Trump and the fact that he was dragged through all of this nonsense. Meanwhile, New York City devolved into just a crime haven where criminals were running the streets, killing people, maiming people, hurting people, and not being prosecuted. Maybe the good news is that when Tish does go to prison, there's going to be no criminals there because she didn't help lock any of them up. But I know that we are going to start locking people up who are doing wrongdoing in places like New York, in places like Chicago, LA, and other crime-ridden cities. And it's about time that we have law and order and that the people who pay their taxes, work hard, can walk on the streets and not have to be surrounded by criminals, including potentially someone like Tish.
It really is just a reminder of just how dirty the inner workings of these big blue cities are. I mean, how corrupt the people that get in. I mean, people like, how in the hell is Tish James the Attorney General of New York? How did that even happen? And you see it when, it's the same reason we're about to have Mamdani as the mayor of this city. It's just, the Republicans don't vote. The Democrats know they have it, so you get the worst of the Democrat Party. The primary is the election, and you end up with these horrific people that are running the most important city in the world.
Well, this is why we need to, another thing that President Trump talks about, get back to real, honest elections where we vote on election day. We don't have election month. We don't have mail-in ballots. Because I think a lot of common sense voters have just given up in some of these blue states and blue cities. They say, why should I even vote? It's just rigged. It's just a mess. There's no chance. And so I hope we get to that point, because I think when we do have really true elections, one legal vote per legal voter, we don't end up with the Tishes of the world. We don't end up with the Mamdanis. We don't end up with the Gavin Newsoms. We end up with common sense people in office. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing.
That's well said.
I pray.
Yeah, same here. Carrie Lake, good to see you. Thanks so.
So, salute to them for that. But I definitely agree. But this right here just goes to show you how fake and how hypocrites, how hypocritical Hakeem Jeffrey and his Democrat Party, him and Jamie Raskin. I want y'all to check out this clip right here.
If it's just like a question of everybody prosecuting the person who prosecuted them, we will be in endless cycles of political and prosecutorial vengeance.
There are so many different corrupt sycophants within the Trump administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives.
So they go to he already telling you right there, if they ever get back in control, they're going to go after everybody in the Trump administration. They literally just said, and it's the same thing that, Jasmine Crockett was saying, but this is one of the other things that Hakeem Jeffries can't get out of his head. When President Trump posted this AI video of them, and check it, just in case you didn't see this, check this out.
Way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
And they got mad because President Trump posted that. So, like I said, I will keep y'all up to date with everything. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comment section that you did stay to the end. And like I said, I will keep y'all up to date as more information comes out. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.